All right, Braves fans, let's get rolling. I'm George McNair, and this is State of the Braves. Well, guys, should I ask it out loud? Is the Braves offense actually starting to wake up? Are they showing signs of life? While two good offensive games in a row may not seem like enough to declare the Braves offense is fully back, these first two games against the Rays, against Tampa Bay, has provided me some serious encouragement. I mean, I feel like a thirsty man in the desert who got his first taste of water in days, right? I've just been waiting for this, and it tastes good. This is the Braves team that I know, right? That we remember from 2023. This feels very familiar, and yet it just feels like we've been waiting so long. So the Braves, in two successive days, they score 7, and then they score 9. They do so with some serious power behind them. They do so with 2 days in a row of Austin Riley hitting a home run, which, man, it has felt like forever since he's gotten it going. He really hasn't gotten it going this year. So a lot of good things in the last 2 days, and I want to pump the brakes maybe a little bit. Like, let's not get too carried away here. We want it so badly. We don't want to just create this narrative that they're back, but I think there's some really strong and positive things showing up in these last 2 games that I'm really encouraged about. Well, let's get into some Braves news first, and obviously some more negative news in terms of injury for the Braves. Michael Harris II goes down with a pulled hammy, and veteran Ramon Laureano has been called up, and he played in Game 2 against the Rays today. Of course, I'm coming to you guys on Saturday, and he's likely going to see some extended action in right field while it looks like they're going to move Jared Kelenic to center field for some time. They might shuffle this around a little bit, but it sure seemed like that might be what happens. There might also be a platoon with Laureano going against lefties at times, and maybe JP Martinez playing against some righties. We'll have to see how that goes down. Obviously, this is not ideal losing Michael Harris II, but it is good that Laureano is in the fold. He has some experience, obviously, in right field. He's a very good fielder. So we'll have to see how he does. He has not been very good offensively for quite a while in the major leagues. He came up as kind of a touted prospect. So we'll just have to see. He has some talent. But yeah, Harris, getting back to him, a grade 2 strain of his hamstring, which is not good. It probably means he's likely out for a month. And man, this is just another blow to the Braves, and is what has been an injury-plagued year, to say the least. Of course, the silver lining to this is it's not like Harris is going to be down for the year or anything like that, but he's going to miss extended time. And of course, it's you got to get your bat going again once you miss that long of a time. So, maybe it's something that throws him off for a little bit, but he can get going in the second half of the season. But yeah, another frustrating loss for the Braves. It's probably one that's going to provide further opportunities for guys to play every day in the outfield. I mean, I think we were already going to see it, but Jared Kelenic and Adam Duvall are going to play every day. And we're also going to see some of these other guys who've been down in AAA get some opportunities. And, who knows? Maybe they flash some good things and they become a piece that can be important as we hopefully will get into the postseason. But this is also really important for Anthopoulos to put eyes on all these other outfielders and kind of, get ready for the trade deadline. Does he need to make a move, or does Duvall and Kelenic both play really well, and you get ready for Harris to come back and you just have your 3 outfielders there? Um, I think a month from now, when Harris hopefully does return, we'll know a lot more about the state of the Braves outfield and how aggressive Anthopoulos might have to be on the trade market to fill a spot. I'm sure he's hoping that he won't have to do that. I think personally, the most likely scenario, just what I see with my own 2 eyes right now, is that Duvall is probably, offensively at least, the weak link that may need to be addressed by the trade deadline. I don't think it's totally Duvall's fault. He's always been marginal in terms of his batting average He kind of plays on, hitting 230, but he's got enough power to make up for some of that. Well, right now he's hitting about 170, right? And it's just not good enough right now. And again, I don't think it's totally his fault. Remember, he basically lost all of spring training and getting ready. So maybe he'll turn it on soon. We know that Duvall is a streaky hitter and can basically carry you for 7 or 10 days when he gets really hot. So maybe one of those streaks is going to happen soon, and we'll feel much better about Duvall. Obviously, he provides great defense. Laureano provides great defense. Kellenick's been solid out there. I think he's a much better left fielder than a center fielder, but you feel good defensively. But we'll obviously have to see how these guys perform offensively. But yeah, guys, nonetheless, these last two games have been much more fun to watch than probably any two straight games all season, and it's been a long time coming, and I've really enjoyed it. The team is suddenly hitting fastballs. Right after I do that episode last time, guys, we talked about the fastball, and I wasn't making it up. Right, all of the metrics and all the data said the Braves, as a team, were not hitting the fastball. We're not catching up to it, and several guys specifically, Austin Riley being the most obvious case of that. Well, Olson being another case, and they both hit some fastballs in these last two games, which has been awesome to see. So just today, again, I'm coming to you Saturday, the Braves hit 4 home runs in this game. Again, just the fact that they hit 4 home runs in a game is really fun. They hit 3 in 1 inning. So 3 of the 4 home runs the Braves hit today were off of fastballs. Matt Olson hit one off of a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Ozuna hit one off a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And Riley, most impressively, hit one off a 97-mile-an-hour fastball to right center field. And again, Riley, has been so weak against fastballs this year. And for him to do that, again, second straight game, he's hit a home run, and to do it against that level of fastball is really awesome to see. How can I explain the team suddenly scoring up more fastballs? I can't fully explain it. And obviously it's a small sample size. You could just chalk it up to, well, they got lucky a couple games or whatever. But I do think specifically Austin Riley is different. I think he has figured something out. Look, remember last episode, we discussed how basically Riley was incapable of squaring up a fastball all season up to this point. He was hitting 118 on the year against fastballs. I don't think he had hit a home run against a fastball all year to this point. And I just want to remind you guys, we are in the middle of June, and he had not hit a fastball, a home run against a fastball up to this point. So, man, I'm so happy for Austin Riley. I'm a huge fan of his, and he goes off in 2 straight games. So, in the first 2 games against the Rays, Riley goes 4 for 6, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. I think he also drew 2 or 3 walks, which is another good sign. He had 3 home runs in 20 RBIs in about 210 at bats before these 2 games. It just puts it into perspective, basically how anemic his offense had been. And again, I'm not trying to rip him. I love Riley, but it's just true. And then these last 2 games have been so good. As soon as Riley, in game 1 of this series against the Rays, as soon as he ripped a double down the left field line in the first inning of game 1, I literally looked at my wife on the couch and I said, that looked different. That looked like that. I couldn't fully, explain it or put it into words other than that. But basically, that swing looked like Austin Riley of 2023. Just the fact that he squared up a ball was good, but something did look a little different. And the broadcast mentioned that Riley had maybe figured something out with his swing plane. That he had gone back to some video and and some video of some good stuff that he was doing last year, some like positive highlights and that sort of thing, which actually I am a big fan of. I think mentally, emotionally, all that stuff, it's way better to try to see things you do well or the way you do things correctly and try to emulate that versus trying to fix what you're doing wrong. And so whatever he did, we don't know the intricacies, but it sure seems like he figured out something with his swing plane, corrected it. And I mean, I think he's carrying himself way more confidently too. And of course, it's easy to see that when you get a little success, but his swing just looks more powerful. And obviously, he's seeing some results. It seems whatever swing plane issues he adjusted, it's allowing him to square up the fastball again. And honestly, is probably helping him square up everything better. His first home run was off of a changeup. The double down the line I mentioned was off of a breaking ball. He just looks instantly more confident at the plate. Even his takes and his foul balls look better. It's like when you are confident that you can catch up against the fastball, then you can sit back a little bit more, right? Your eye at the plate gets a little better. You can let the ball travel more, which he's definitely doing. He's hit the ball down the right field line pretty hard several times, even when they're foul. That's just a really good sign. And again, the best thing that's happened to him probably all season was this bomb that he hit today into the right center field bullpen. Again, 97 mile an hour fastball that he squared up perfectly, turned it around. So just awesome for him to have 2 straight days of some really good things, but especially that home run today to me was a little bit more definitive proof that yeah, something's different. I think Riley is figuring it out. I don't want to get too crazy with that. Sure, he could slip back into a slump here, and I could be proven wrong, but I think Riley is back. Um, and if he is, this Braves offense is totally different with him. And the last 2 days have proven that, right? 7 runs and 9 runs back to back. Now, in the meantime, Matt Olson has looked a lot better lately too. I don't want to overlook that. I think his run has not been quite as sudden, but it has been also really positive. Over his last 7 games, Olson is hitting nearly 400. He's hit 2 home runs, 11 total hits during that time period. Of course, he hit a home run today as well. Now, I do still think his swing timing is not quite right. Um, I'd still like to see him drive the ball to center field and even left center field a little bit more with authority. It probably sounds like I'm splitting hairs here, but his home runs are kind of like just over the fence kind of home runs. Like he's just not fully squaring up the ball. And of course, he's powerful enough to still hit the ball out of the ballpark like that. But last year, I mean, guys, you remember most of his home runs were no doubters. They were 450-foot bombs to right center field and to center field. And right now, it's more like he's getting out in front and just kind of putting it into the chop house seats. And look, I'm not going to complain. He hits a home run, awesome, and that's obviously what we want him to do. But I don't think he's quite back yet. I think obviously his timing is better, and his average bumping up is a good evidence of that. So maybe he's kind of halfway there, but not fully there. Now, of course, meanwhile, Marcell Ozuna is doing what he's doing, and he's done it for the entirety of the year. And I just want to, pump him up a little bit more. We talked about him already, of course, but he basically single-handedly kept this team afloat through the worst offensive stretch that they've had in years, and he's still doing it. He hit his 20th home run today. And basically, what Riley did for the first time all year, turning around a fastball, hitting it to right center field. That's what Ozuna's been doing all year, right? He has had that approach, and he's been locked in the whole time. So 20 home runs to this point. He's just been awesome. Remember, he hit his career high of 40 home runs last year. He's certainly on pace to eclipse that this year. Ever since he came back from the dead, baseball wise, in early May of last year, he has been one of the best hitters in baseball. It's not a fluke. I'm sure a lot of people thought it was fluky last year. He's proving it's not a fluke. And it's just huge what he's done for this team at the plate. Imagine what the Braves would have been like if Marcell Ozuna had not been hitting this year. And he's also been big in the clubhouse as well. Now let's talk about Jared Kelenic just a little bit. Um, finally, Kelenic, I think, I had thought that his playing every day, of course, Ronald Acuna goes down, and you don't really want Kelenic to play every day in that circumstance, but it is what it is. So Kelenic gets the chance to play every day, and I thought, this might be really good for him, and young guy getting at bats, getting at bats against lefties, having to keep that shoulder in and stay on the ball and that sort of thing. And I do think it's been beneficial. I don't know that you can read too much into his play. I mean, he's hitting 269, 5 home runs. That's not going to jump off the screen at you. But, he hit a home run today, and I think he is likely going to show a little more power over the next couple months. And again, I already mentioned this, but I think it's an important few months for Kelnick, going into the trade deadline, and really for the remainder of this year to really establish himself in the Braves lineup and just have that trajectory of better and better as the season goes on. And I really do expect that to happen. All right, guys. So the last thing I want to hit on today, while I don't really like to end on a bad note generally, I do want to talk about Orlando Arcia and his recent struggles at the plate. I'm just starting to take note of Arcia's offensive struggles more lately. You guys, if you've listened to me, I've never been a huge believer in Arcia's offense. Um, I thought that last year, him making the All-Star team was a little bit of a blip on the radar in terms of like that's the best offense he's ever shown at the major league level. It was the first half of last year. I think he hit 211 after the All-Star break last year, something like that. And this year he's basically continuing that. Right now he's currently hitting 225 on the year with a very meager 253 on base percentage. He's hit a few home runs that bump up his production slightly. But the metrics back up that Arcia, this is basically his worst offensive year with the Braves, but it is his best defensive year with the Braves. And certainly that has shown. I mean, I don't want to discount that, and certainly playing shortstop is super important. And I know the Braves appreciate it. Um, so I'm just putting it out there. I don't know if the Braves would take any action, go out and get a shortstop at the trade deadline or that sort of thing, but it's at least on my radar. And look, what if RC is hitting sub 200 by the All-Star break? That really starts getting you more and more thinking that maybe they have to move on or do something different, especially in a season where their offense hasn't been rolling quite as much. Having a shortstop who could provide more offense would certainly be nice, even though I do understand that his defensive value is really important. All right, guys, looking ahead, Hurston Waldrop will make his Truist Park debut on Sunday as the Braves will wrap up their series with the Rays. Hopefully they'll sweep them, and that would be 4 wins in a row. So that would be really great. After that, they will host the Detroit Tigers for 3. Detroit is 34-36 on the year. Look, as a Braves fan, I don't really know as much about the Tigers. I remember they were a little pesky last year when the Braves played them. The Tigers do rank 8th overall in pitching WAR for the season, so pretty solid, pitching, obviously. None of the starting pitchers have been named for this series on either side, which is kind of weird. So we'll see how that falls in terms of the pitching matchups. The Tigers and Braves are actually tied for 13th in runs scored. So I don't know. It could be a tough test for the Braves. After the Tigers, the Braves will travel to Yankee Stadium for a much tougher task. It sure would be good for the Braves to go to New York and firing on all cylinders. Yankee Stadium always kind of interesting to play, but especially when the Yankees are playing well. So guys, a little bit more positive vibes coming from me, coming from the Braves generally, starting to swing the bats better, really encouraging. And it just makes for, it's more fun to watch them when they're swinging the bat. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.